You're watching CT23 with Eric Parker.
Welcome back. We've talked about on this show, there is a shortage of teachers and paraprofessionals across the state and around the country right now. Here in Connecticut, State Comptroller Sean Scanlon announced a plan to help those paras. He joins us to share some of the details. Thank you very much for being with us. Tell us about this plan.
Good to be here. Well, as you said, our paraeducators are doing amazing work each and every day in classrooms across Connecticut. And unfortunately, they're paid far too little for the work that they do, and their healthcare costs are very expensive. And this is leading to a big shortage in paras. And so last year, the legislature passed a bill requiring my office to set up a paraeducator healthcare assistance fund. And we announced last week the results of that. And because of that, we're going to be able to help over 4,000 paraeducators afford their health insurance for the first time in a long time.
So tell me the logistics. How does it work? If someone's watching, maybe they're a para, they work in a classroom, they work in a school, they know somebody. What do you got to do to take part in this?
Well, we did a survey of every single school district in Connecticut, and as a result of that, found out that there was about 12,000 paraprofessionals in the state. About half of them get health care from the school and have a high deductible health plan. So if you're a para out there with a high deductible health plan, you're spending a lot of money before you can even access your insurance. We're going to pay the cost of 74% of what your deductible is. So if you have a $2,000 deductible, and let's say that your school district chips in $1,000, but that means you're on the hook for $1,000. We're going to give you a $740 stipend in order to help you afford that healthcare cost so that you can focus on helping our kids and not worry about affording your health insurance.
When you go at a problem like this, so obviously one way that the state could have looked at it is said, oh, let's set, minimum salaries for paras. Let's force the school districts to pay more. This is sort of an alternative approach, coming in saying, let's take a look at something that's expensive for them and try to help them afford it. How do you then get the word out to people to say, hey, come to Connecticut, be a para, go back to school and get, whatever education you need to do it because we're going to help you. Is there an education piece for your office?
Well, again, there's a big shortage in both teachers and paras right now. It's been a very difficult time these last few years in education. And I think what message we sent yesterday and last week was that we are really hearing directly from these paras and we want to help them. And I think the fact that we are, and we made that announcement, goes a long way towards making sure that people feel valued. And when they feel valued, they want to do their work. And I think helping them with some of their costs, I think is a really good thing to help the workforce.
And have you heard a reaction from people? I mean, how does somebody reach out? They go to your office to apply? Are people scooping this up and getting excited?
Yeah, so the good news is they don't have to do anything because we found out who each and every one of them are. We will send a check through the Board of Education in the week of September 11th. And that money will then go directly into the health savings account of each and every one of these paras. So if you're watching, you don't have to do anything, but help is on the way.
Wow, that's the best kind of help, the kind where you don't have to do anything. You've been busy since you've been in office. Probably, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you've been the most visible comptroller we can recall in recent years, putting out a lot of different things. Another one I want to ask you about is this My CT Savings. That's something else through your office. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think it's important for somebody to be out there in the public doing one of these jobs. And I'm doing it perhaps in a different way, but I think it's important to get out there, hear from people, and interact on these programs. And one of the programs that I'm so excited about is My CT Savings. It's a small business help plan. And essentially what it does is it tries to help small businesses be able to offer retirement plans to their employees at no cost to the small business. Half of the workers in Connecticut don't get offered a retirement plan at their job. That's not because the employer doesn't want to. It's because the employer often can't afford to. That's where My CT Savings comes in. The deadline to enroll for businesses was on the 31st of August. And I'm really proud to say that we signed up 5,700 companies just in the last year alone for this program. There's going to be a little bit of a brief pause, but there will be other opportunities for people to sign up in the future. And I hope the businesses will check out My CT Savings and learn more about it.
5,700 is pretty good in the first year. You also have some flood compensation, $5 million worth, headed to people in Hartford. Explain that. And I know you got some pushback on that from people saying, well, you drew a geographic boundary around it. Why them and not me? So how do you explain the program and answer those questions?
Yeah, so there's been a really big problem in recent years of flooding in Hartford. And at the same time that our infrastructure is aging, these more severe storms are happening, which is why you see, a lot of flooding happening in a place like the north end of Hartford. This year, the legislature passed a bill saying that my office would help set up a fund of $5 million, while they also do $100 million of work to fix the underlying problem of the infrastructure. So if folks had experienced that flooding and they had damage in their homes, anytime after January 1st of 2021, they can now go on to our website, osc.ct.gov/Hartford flood, and they can apply for this program. The law that created this program said that any Hartford resident is eligible, even though most of the issues have been in the north end of Hartford. But every single person that has experienced this problem, that goes through the process and actually is determined to have deserved this, will get the funding no matter where they live in Hartford. And I can assure them of that.
All right, we have 30 seconds left. I know you have enough financial data at your fingertips to probably fill the rest of the show, but in 30 seconds, your office does a lot of numbers. Just give me the outlook.
Yeah, we're in the first year of the new fiscal year here. We've got a $390 million surplus. That's the fifth. We just ended the fifth consecutive year of a budget surplus in Connecticut. Listeners to your show, remember that we've gone through some dark times here fiscally in Connecticut. We're turned a corner. We're making progress, and it's a good news that I'm happy to report.
All right. Always good to have good news. Sean Scanlon, Connecticut's comptroller. Thanks for being with us here on the show.
Good to be on.
Coming up next in our Sunday Spotlight, an event that draws huge crowds to downtown Hartford. We'll have a preview of the Eversource Hartford Marathon when we come back.